books that I really do not enjoy and were really just so hard for me to get through. But that's a good thing. But I'm glad I do have some so that we can do this video today. So let's hop right into it. So I think we are going to be going from books that I just really did not enjoy at all to progressively even more and more and more dislike. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first one we have here is actually the Inheritance Games. I think I may have rated this a 3. I feel like I could have rated it lower. This book was just boring to me. Just keep in mind though, I did kind of enjoy it, because I already had all 3 books, so I'm like, well, I might as well read it. I already paid for it. So I did read the other 2. I feel like they did progressively get a little bit better. But this one, I remember nothing from. Nothing. I did not enjoy it. Kind of wish I wouldn't have read it, to be honest. I know that is a hot take, because this is a very well-loved book, and I'm glad that you guys all liked it. I am, truly. But I just didn't. So let's try to find some reviews. And I know there will be a lot of 5-star reviews here because it is very loved. Why is it so slow? Guys, this has a 4.15 average. That's a pretty good average. And I think the reason I didn't really enjoy this has partly to do with the fact that I've been slowly, getting farther away from enjoying mystery as much anymore. Because I feel like mystery subplots I enjoy more than actual mystery books, because the stakes are just, they could be high, but really they're not that high in my brain. So the plot twist was fun at the end, but really that was the only thing that I enjoyed about this. Okay, so I found one, and this is from Allie Goodwin on YouTube. Love her channel. Go check her out. She said, wow, I did not expect this to be a 5-star read, but it definitely is. First of all, the plot is wild. Avery is just a normal high schooler, but then one day she finds out she's inheriting billions of dollars from a random guy, and she has no idea why. And she has to live with his disinherited family. And that family includes 4 brothers around Avery's age. The mystery of the inheritance is definitely the main plot, but the romance was also. And I was on the edge of my seat the entire time as the characters try to solve riddles and look for clues to find the reason behind the inheritance. Would highly recommend. I will be reading the sequel immediately. So that was a pretty simple, that was her personal experience. I know Allie does really like mysteries. So, yeah. And Heather's reads said, I knew the basic premise to this book before reading, but I have to say that this story far exceeding all my expectations. I had such a fun time reading this one. This was by far one of my favorite reading experiences. Just pure delight. If you love mysteries, puzzles, and forced proximity, choice of sibling romance, this one is for you. Yeah, and I enjoyed the romance. It was quite literally crumbs. The romance was crumbs. Even throughout the whole series, it's crumbs, and I don't like who she ends up with in the end. So, yeah, it is a good rec, but I would recommend it only really to young adults. I wouldn't really recommend it to an adult, to be honest. was kind of making the main character go through. Like, I got so infuriated. It made me so mad. And the rest of the book was, like, subpar. So, let's go ahead and look at some reviews. Whoa, where is it taking me? Goodreads on my computer is so slow. Okay, there we go. We filtered 5-star reviews. Okay. Steph Sinclair says, I went into We Were Liars. One cocky son of a biscuit eater feeling above it all right from page 1. I've seen this book talked about so heavily by other bloggers and how some never saw the twist coming, or how others totally saw that twist coming, all while I was sitting on the sidelines with my shades on, posted up with my arms folded saying, yeah, hot potato. That's not to say I didn't want to read this book, because I did. I even had an arc sitting on my shelf for the longest time, but due to a lot of hype, I kept putting it off. Plus, I'm one of those people who usually can easily figure out a plot twist, and I didn't want to dive into something where a lot of people already mentioned figuring it out. But one thing did nag me a little in the back of my mind was my bookish twin, Blythe, from Finding Bliss in Books. Loved it. I highly value her opinion when it comes to books, because we almost always agree. So when I happened to get my hands on the audiobook, I thought, what the heck? I was supposed to read and review this anyway, right? Let me tell you, whoa. Okay. Somebody said tragic, yet hauntingly beautiful story. Only when you get to the end. Like, what was the rest of the book even for? Someone said, I don't cry a lot, but boy, this had me sobbing. I don't even know how to describe the feelings this story left me with. Just read it, and you'll understand. But once again, that was only from the ending of the book. The rest of it was kind of pointless. Someone said, I am lost amongst my endless tears. Okay, but if it's so abrupt and you're not even, there's no lead up to it, if it's that abrupt, I don't know. Okay, let's just move on. There's nothing too specific about this one, really. Okay, the next one. It was just, overall, about this book, it was just mid. It was just mid. And it is The Lucky One by Nicholas Sparks. This one, yeah, just mid. That's pretty much it. I read it. I feel like somebody else could have written this better. Like, the things in my brain where I'm like, oh, this could be fun and high stakes kind of moment here. And he just took the easy route with it. The story was so boring. The premise was, it had so much potential. And I was just disappointed by this. It had a lot of potential, where he could have taken the story and made it so much better. But just mid. But yeah. this guy said, if you like Nicholas Sparks, this book is one of his best. If this is one of his best, yeah, no, I'm never reading anything else from him. Personally, when it comes to one of his stories, I always read the ending first before buying his books. What? Okay, I've heard of people doing this before, but eventually, you will spoil yourself. And with romance, yeah, sure, but just not with other genres, though, at least. I said, sure, it's a spoiler, but he stung me too many times by killing off a main character, turning a wonderful love story into a ridiculous tragedy that leaves the reader grieving instead of rejoicing. There's enough pain in real life without inflicting it needlessly in a sappy book. I read to escape and find some joy in fantasy. This one ended a bit over dramatically, but it all in all ended well, so I bought it. Okay, yeah, this might be solidifying in me that I may never read a Nicholas Sparks book ever again. Because this was it was so boring. I started it and then I had to audiobook the rest because, and this tragedy he's talking about, I low-key don't even remember at this point. And somebody else said, thank you, Nicholas Sparks, for the heart attack you almost caused me with that ending. I was this close to lose my mind over Logan. It's a beautiful story, beautifully written and very enjoyable. It evokes faith, luck, destiny, all gathered in a former Marine's life and his journey to accomplish what had started in his life because of a photograph. I don't know why, but I always found Sparks' stories so enjoyable. Like they keep one's mind away from his own stuff and make it wander away in the era and place where the told story is taking place. I liked it. I actually loved it. I also loved Logan's character. Boy, was he amazing. And I found myself sticking my tongue like a child at Keith in different parts of the book. Another thing about this book, I felt the conflict. Like, you know, when there's a conflict and you feel like if you were in that situation, that you're like, oh my gosh, they could be explaining this so much better and there wouldn't be a conflict here. That's how I felt. And the ending of the book could have been done so much better and so much more interesting. It just was, it's like he tried to make it climactic, but then it just didn't hit. Yeah, I'm over it. The next one, it makes me upset. This one, partly because it is YA, it's like very YA, it feels very YA, and it just, one thing that kind of aggravated me was stuff in this that it like genuinely, it made me mad. Yeah, okay. My review said, mid. I didn't connect with the characters, and there was a lot of room to have a lot more emotional depth. Yeah. There was, and the plot premise, it had a lot of room to be interesting. It just wasn't. And I just did not connect with the characters. Okay. Somebody said, I love with the Taylor Swift parts in it too. Oh my gosh. I can't relate. Yeah, somebody said, Steven awkward meet not so cute alert. You're telling me that there was a YA contemporary rom-com that actually lived up to my massive expectations. Absolute needs. Oh my gosh, some people go absolutely feral in their reviews. Somebody says, no matter how many times I read this, I'm gonna love it. It has to be one of my favorite romances, even though I'm not a huge on insta love. It's just so cute, and also how could I not love a book that references Taylor Swift? Like, yeah, I did notice that. I think that was a big part of why the romance really bothered me and why I could not get into the characters. It was a little insta-lovey. And then next, we have The Guest List by Lucy Foley. You guys may have heard me talk about this book in one of my other videos, in my reading wrap-up, maybe. But this is the very first book that I have rated 1 star. I hated this book. I hated the characters. Everything about it. So much so, I don't know how I finished it. And it wasn't because I was like, oh, it's so terrible, but I need to know. No, it wasn't like that. It was like purely because I don't fully DNF books. And yeah, I personally don't think this is worth the read. But I mean, it really depends. Even when I hate a book, I'm still gonna be like, well, reading's subjective. Because guess what? It is. So, yeah, did not enjoy this any one bit. The characters just aggravated me so much. And if the author, Lucy Foley, when she said something mildly profound about parenthood or adulthood, the next second, one of the characters was like, I just can't even. Somebody said, X to the yes. This is the thriller I've been waiting for. Lately, I admit thrillers have not been well thrilling me. I have had a problem with all of them being meh. They're either one of 3 things, not really a thriller, start out with a bang, and then the ending is just plain ridiculous, or 3, super boring. This one delivered from page 1. No. They said Jules and Will are a couple I love to hate. At least we can agree with that. They are gorgeous and they know it. Nobody loves Jules and Will more than, you guessed it, Jules and Will. Leave it to Jules to insist on dragging her entire wedding party to a remote island. She claims it is for privacy. I though wondered if it were some publicity stunt. The island was a wicked reputation and a sketchy past. Sounds like a fantastic place for a wedding, right? I absolutely love the creepy atmosphere. I wouldn't have spent one night there no matter how much Jules insisted, because she would insist. Everything is all about Jules. The book revolves around multiple POVs, which all are members of the wedding party, yet the author did a superb job of making it really easy to follow along. The characters were clearly labeled for each POV, and if you didn't get it, she even had a description, wedding planner, etc. Yes, I loved it. Although was telling me, oh yeah, and it's spooky, you know? It's like I didn't feel the atmosphere. It's like she was trying to tell me that it was eerie. That's just not. Somebody said the guest list is a fun, fast-paced guessing game of a read, perfect for fans of Dame, Agatha Christie, or Ruth Ware. I think there are much better books, but yeah, guys, that is actually going to be all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys will come back soon and see what else I've got for you. I will see you guys